All right, so for our latest project, we're going to be taking a look at this very nice old Sansui 5050 AM/FM stereo receiver. And this unit belongs to one of my coworkers who's also been in the AV business a long time and has a collection of things laying around at his house. This was just one of them, and we were talking about this, so we just want to get this up and going again. He says it does work, but the controls are pretty staticky, so we're going to need some work there. And I believe he said that none of the display lamps are working. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and do a good evaluation of this and find out if the controls and lamps are all that's wrong with it, and if not, what we can do about getting it fixed for him. Of course, these old Sansui receivers are extremely popular on the vintage electronics resale market. Wayne in Florida, if you watch my channel, I did a GX 5000 receiver for him, or actually for his son. Extremely expensive receiver, extremely expensive. And I would imagine even this one, even in its small size, fetches a pretty good penny on the internet. So we'll see what we can get going for him on this one. As for our intro music, we're going to go back to 1977, very appropriate for this receiver. And we're going to check out some of this Ted Templeman recorded, unreleased Van Halen material from back during the debut album. And of course, there are so many songs that could have been put on that record. And some of the ones that were left off, it's hard to believe they were left off. But of course, there's only so much time you have when recording an album. So we're going to check out my favorite one from this bunch of songs. It's called We Die Bold. And then we'll get started on the Sansui. All right, let's take a quick tour of the controls of the unit here on the front, starting with the far left. The ever-present speaker switch, of course, off, in case you just want to use your headphones. A speakers, B speakers, and then a combination of both sets, A and B. Power switch above that. Looks like someone did leave a 1/4 inch to 3.5 headphone adapter in the unit. High filter switch. Above the power switch here, there is the 2 meters, signal strength and the centering meter. Bass, treble, and balance, of course. The bass and treble are detented on every step. The balance is detented in the center. Smooth rolling volume control. Above that, the tape monitor switch for your tape deck. And then we have the Dolby noise reduction 4-channel adapter. In case you have that piece of equipment, you'll need to activate that switch for your FM. FM muting off. So on is the default position. Loudness and then mode for stereo or mono. They're going to give you a 1/4 inch mic jack here with a mic level switch in case you want to sing along with your favorite songs. And then your selector switch here, of course, for the phono, FM auto, FM adapter, Dolby FM adapter, and then AM, and then auxiliary for adding another source here. Tuning is moving smoothly here with no problem. Very, very nice precision, weighted dial as always. Let me go ahead and flip it around. We'll take a look at the connections in the back. All right, carrying on from the rear of the unit. Up here, of course, your antenna connections for your FM and then an additional AM if you want. The AM built-in antenna is still present on the unit. Then you got your ground and then your phono input, of course, your auxiliary input. And then for your tape deck, they have these marked record and play versus in and out. And there is a DIN connection in case you have that type of connector on your tape deck. There's your Dolby FM 4-channel adapter in case you have that outboard piece of equipment you want to add on. And then your spring-loaded speaker connections for System A and System B. Now over here we do have a plastic housing with a couple of screws in it. And I do believe this is for universal voltage in case you want to switch this to 240. In case you're in another country, and it even has the factory tag here that alerts you to the fact that it is preset for use on 115, 120. So I do believe you can change it here if you wanted to. So very simply stated, not a lot to take a look at. A couple outlets here, one switched and one unswitched. So I think the first thing we'll probably want to do, let's go ahead and open it up and just have a look on the inside, make sure nothing jumps out as a red flag, and then we'll get some speakers hooked up, or a speaker. I don't think we want to hook up the bench speakers yet. Let's hook up a test speaker due to that staticky volume control and just confirm both channels are working. So give me a second for that and we'll pick back up. All right, let me get you back in here. Went ahead and got the lid off. Got our burner speaker hooked up, but we didn't really need that. I don't have any static in the volume control here. Do got some static in the balance control though. Both channels of the receiver are working fine from what I can tell. We'll take a look at things here. Turn that off for a second. Dusty, as you would expect. Amplifier driver board there, laid out very nicely. Same basic setup as that much larger receiver I worked on. Only different style outputs, a little smaller versions. They all look to be original Sankins in here. One thing I did notice though is the lamps for the meters are in parallel. From what I can tell, they were all in parallel. So I'm thinking, how is it even possible all lamps would be bad at the same time? So pulled down the service manual from Hi-Fi Engine. We'll take a look right here. Coming off this tap of the transformer, we go through a 2 amp fuse up into the lamps right here, and you can see every single one is in parallel with the other. With the exception of that one lamp, 226 there, goes through a resistor. It's probably the stereo pilot. So the fuse responsible for that is 601 2 amp fuse, and I did check it and it is bad. Can't tell that it's bad from here, but it is open, so I say we stick one in there and see if we can get our lamps back. If it pops again, then we'll know we need to look a little further, but otherwise it is working. There isn't even any dirt or noise in the balance and or in the treble and bass. So we'll need to do a little cleaning here, but not too much. So let me grab a fuse and we'll stick a fuse in the lamps feed there and see if we can get the lamps back. All right, let me get you back in here. Got us a fuse put in here, and we did get our lamps back. Everything's looking pretty good. There is one on the end here that is not working, and I would imagine that probably when that lamp opened up, it was probably drawing too much current and probably blew our fuse. That'd be my guess. Can't see anything else here that's going on. Did get our FM stereo light back as well. All the meters, everything seems to be working just fine. So it looks like just a maintenance situation here, which is not breaking my heart since I have a ton of units to work on. So let's get a compressor involved. I'm going to kind of blow this out a little bit. Then we'll check through the caps in the power supply and on the driver board. We'll get the front off and get it cleaned up a little bit and get that lamp replaced that's bad. We'll probably just go ahead and change them all across the front here. Give me a moment for that and we'll pick back up. All right, picking back up with you. Following day here, I got the bottom of the unit off. Seeing we have great access to the controls here if you want to do a little control cleaning on your own unit. I went ahead and did the balance control, function switch, and speaker selector switch. There's no static in the others, so I'm not gonna waste the control cleaner if there's not an issue. I went ahead and checked through some of the caps here on the tone control board. Every single one of these caps is perfectly fine. I'm sure if you were to consult the internet, it would tell you to change them all, but you would just be wasting your time. There's no issues with any of these. These are well within tolerance of what the ESR meter says they should be. But I do want to look at the power supply board on the other side as well as the driver board. Let's see if we got anything going on there. Got the 7-volt lamps. We'll go ahead and take that front piece loose, the lamp housing loose for those, and change those out. And we'll kind of get on our way to getting this one wrapped up. All right, let's go ahead and pick back up here. Got the camera mounted on the magnifier so you can get a look internally here. Power supply board, and then the driver board sitting right underneath the ESR meter. We're going to take a look at these 3 caps right here, 2 Elna and the 1 Rubicon. I don't anticipate we'll find any problems here. I checked these 2 from underneath. They're perfectly fine. And I would say probably no surprises here either. So yeah, no issues. Didn't think we'd find anything. We'll take a look at this driver board. There's some caps here that we'll want to take a look at. One good thing about these Sansuis is that they made this driver board removable. It's got a plug, male and female plug, where it'll just unplug from the main board. So if you inevitably have shorted outputs, you know you're probably going to have some type of driver damage or a resistor that's burned up. It makes it getting this board out easily to repair it. So we'll start off with these larger caps on the end here. Let's see what they look like. Again, no surprises really with any of this. Let's check the 3 across the center. And then the smallest of the 2 is 1 mic at 50. There's 2 of these across the input lines. So let's take a look at those. And that is maybe about 2 ohms. That, in my opinion, there's no need to change these. You put a brand new 1 mic cap in there, that might get you up to about maybe 1 ohm, but I don't see any reason to change those out. So let's put this back in, and let's put it back in on the right pins. That'd probably be helpful. And the next thing we're going to do is take a look at these lamps. Basically what I've done here is I went ahead and pulled this out, and pulled out one of the lamps. And this is where our dowel string is. We want to be really careful right here. So I put a straw on this just to kind of guard it while I'm playing around in this area right here. So we'll just kind of pull these 3 lamps out. I've already pulled 1 out and broke it in the process of pulling it out. And of course, I know you're not going to be able to see too well here. You can see every one of these is breaking as I take it out. But these are old. This lamp would actually probably still work. And this one should be the bad one, I believe. And let me grab the replacement ones and we'll stick those in real quick, and we'll put that lamp housing back in and kind of get out of that area right there. The last thing we want to do is have a situation where we have to restring a dial cord, which I have not done in many years and hope to not have to do anytime soon. And I am using incandescent lamps. Of course, you can get LEDs if you want. I'm just not a big fan myself, so I always just put back in the unit what came in it originally, just to keep it as original as possible. And we'll go ahead and put this back into place here. You just take out these two screws to get access to it. But again, you want to be careful around this dial string. You don't want to wind up having a situation where you break your dial string. And this plastic is frail, so you don't want to over tighten here, just snug it up. That lamp housing isn't going to go anywhere. There we go. And then we have the two over here next to the meters. So let's slide the unit. All right, as I pick back up with you here, right at the point that I slid the unit, somebody walked into my garage. And so I had to cut the clip a little premature there. So let's pick back up. We're going to take the one screw out on the lamp housing for the meter lamps. We'll slide our straw down here a little bit more. Just trying to make sure we don't do any damage. Keep in mind there's one right here at the top too, so you're kind of like in double, got yourself some double trouble there. And we'll see if we can sneak these out and get them changed real quick. There wasn't anything wrong with these, but since we're changing them all across the front here, let's go ahead and just change them all everywhere across the front. Now, I'm going to use a pick and just kind of pull away one side of it, being careful because I don't want to break the top string right there. Even though those lamps are old, they still work, so I'll hang on to them. And if I have somebody that brings me a receiver, and a lot of times they won't complain, they don't say anything about the lamps being bad, I'll just change them on principle alone, and we'll use those to do that with. But most everyone says, hey, the lamps aren't working, because they want those fixed. And there's the second one. Same deal here. I'm just going to kind of get it caught into one corner and then just kind of lock it into place. Paying close attention. This one's kind of in an odd place. Let me see if I can get it with the hemos. There we go. Got that. Now we'll put this one back in. One screw. There we go. That should take care of it. Let's get the straw off. All right, so we should have all working lamps now and clean controls, the ones that were having issues. So we can go ahead and get the bench speakers hooked up. We'll confirm everything works. And then from that point, we'll just remove the front and we'll get this cleaned up and make this receiver look as good on the outside as it does on the inside here. I've done some cleaning in here, just kind of blew it out with a compressor. All this dust came out pretty nice, wiped everything down. with a towel so you can see everything pretty cleanly. And so yeah, we're on our way with this one. So let's go ahead and try it out with the bench speakers and see what it really sounds like. So give me a second for that, and I'll pick back up with you. All right, let's pick back up. We'll take a look at it. All the lights now working correctly. Bench speakers hooked up, and it is loud, no question. So I think we got everything back to 100% as far as the lamps is concerned, getting the controls cleaned. No static there. All right, I think only one thing left to do. Let's go ahead and pull the front of this off, and the knobs, we're going to clean all this up and clean behind this to get whatever haze is there off. So we got a nice clean look to this, and we'll get it finished up. So give me a moment for that, and we'll get started on the front of it. All right, let's go ahead and pick back up, and we'll go ahead and remove the front face here and get everything, the dial scale and everything back behind this cleaned up, get the glass cleaned up. It's got a little bit of a haze on it, maybe from being around somebody that smoked or what have you. The knobs you can see has got a little bit of tarnish on them as well. So we'll get this should turn out pretty good, and we'll get this looking pretty good. The first thing we're gonna do, we'll have to take the knobs off. There's some nuts behind these that hold the bottom part of the face on. So let's go ahead and take those off. And I just kind of line them up. So the one that came out is the one that goes right back where it came from. There we go. And there's 2 screws here. Being careful of that very frail cable running right there. There. Okay, that's going to take care of that. And then for these, you can use a nut driver, or you can just use a pair of pliers, and just, they're not on very tight probably, so don't take very much. Don't gouge the front up with the pliers. And again, just using the same nut in the same spot when you get ready to put these back on. And there's a washer behind each one, I would imagine. Takes care of that. And then we should be able to slip this off, maybe. Well, probably want to remove this one as well. There we go. And yeah, we can probably use a little bit of cleaning. We'll lay this here for the moment. We're going to use a little bit of Windex, real Windex, not the generic stuff. Just kind of spray a little bit on the rag here, and then kind of wipe down this portion of it. And we'll just kind of move this out of our way. And you can see it's a little dirty. I'll clean these buttons while we're in here. This is the nice, satisfying part. Once you have it all fixed, do a little cleanup. You can really see that the light comes through really nice once you remove the haze from everything. I'll wipe off this part of the jack for that microphone, which I did try, and it does work just fine. I'm going to take a drier part of the towel and just kind of wipe over this. Looks pretty good there. Now, there's probably a pretty good argument that behind this piece, there's some haze behind that as well. I'm not going to go through the tedious process of removing this in an effort to do that. It's possible that we could break it, in which case we would have tried to take good and make it better and winding up with nothing. So we're going to leave that as is. You don't want to do too much. And let's take a look at one of these knobs here. We'll just kind of get an idea for how nice those will clean up. These do have quite a bit of that brown nicotine residue on them. Might even actually require getting a toothbrush involved and maybe soaking them in some Windex for a little bit. As you can see, there's quite a bit coming off the towel there. I mean, ultimately, anything we do to it's going to make it better, but we're going to try to get this polished up pretty nice. But in these, you know, because this is kind of grooved the way that it is, a toothbrush is probably the best way to go. So we'll put that off to the side for a second, and let's work on the front glass a little bit. We certainly want to come right back here, and I can see, you can almost write your name in the haze that's on the back of this thing. And again, pretty much anything you do to it's going to certainly make an improvement. And we'll come around to this side, and you can start to see some of that coming off. This might require some type of metal polish to get really, really clean, because I do see kind of a hard stain on that, especially right up here in this corner right here. But we're just kind of bringing it back a little bit by a little bit here. I'll have to work on this quite a bit. I'm not going to eat up 30 minutes of the video with me wiping on things and cleaning things up. So I will continue to work on this, and you'll get to fast forward or time travel to the point where I have it all looking about as good as I can get it, and then we'll take another look at it and do a final play test on it. So it'll take me a little bit for that, but it'll be instantaneous for you, and we'll pick back up. All right, let me get you back in here. Got the whole unit put back together, face cleaned up, polished, everything looks so nice. Light is actually bouncing off those beautiful knobs. Just a very, very cool old receiver, no question about it. The camera video really doesn't do this justice. You really need to see this in person in order to get the full effect of how nice this really looks. As for the front face piece here, I used some of this Noxon metal polish, 7 metal polish cleaner to get that nice and cleaned up. Basically, just like car polish, you just put it on and then use a dry towel and rub it back off. Windex and a toothbrush to get the knobs looking the way they're supposed to look. As for this wood top here, there is a couple of places that are kind of bad. I don't do anything with the wood. This will be up to the owner, what he decides he wants to do with it. It doesn't really look that terrible. But if you wanted to, you could probably give this to the right person and have that 100% again. But yeah, I mean, looking at one of these, it's easy to see why they're so sought after. Just a beautiful receiver. In a lot of ways, I even actually prefer the Sansui over the Pioneer. Just so cool. Very nice receiver. So as we exit out on this video, I thought it would be appropriate, since we started out listening to demos that were made during the recording of the first Van Halen album, we might as well go ahead and just go back to where it all started for this legendary band. And what better receiver to play it on than one from the decade when the album was released. And there's a very good chance that this receiver has heard this song many times before in its lifetime. So as always, I want to thank you guys very much. I appreciate you checking out the videos on my channel as well as this video, and we'll catch you on the next one. And on the way out, we're going to listen to Runnin' with the Devil, classic Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen making history when this album was released. And we're going to turn this up a little bit so you can really hear it.